I'm Lyle Blackburn. Join me on my podcast, Monstro Bizarro, where I explore real-life cases of cryptids, paranormal horrors, and other monster mysteries. From Bigfoot to Dogman, swamp monsters to vampires, my unique format will fuel your fire for the unexplained as I cover very real stories that will surely haunt you long after the audio experience. So darken the lights and pull up a chair, if you dare. The truth is always stranger than fiction.
There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the cryptids of the corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big. Abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, what the?
Hello, and welcome back to Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Who are you, Dracula?
I am the great and powerful mystery.
Oh, that's who you are. And I am J. Clone 928.
You moved the mic stand
I had
much.
I had to see what clone number I was.
What was it?
928. This is a special clone. You know why this one's so special? Oh, I don't have any answers. I thought you were going to tell me.
Oh.
I'm just a clone. I was created. I didn't ask for this. Holy moly. Good one. There we go.
All right, so today's episode is something we promised a long time ago.
Ooh.
It's probably almost been a year.
At least, hey,
But
we're fulfilling it.
The topics, so we try to spread them out. This is going to be Canadian devil monkeys.
Ooh.
Specifically the northern devil monkeys. We're going to go in Alaska, too.
Okay, that's pretty much Canada.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, anything up there. But before I get into that, just a couple things. We are so close to 1 million downloads.
We're almost there.
So for that special episode, we're going to do a Q&A episode. So either on Instagram or on Facebook, there should be a post saying, hey, put your questions in the comments below. And, we're going to pick them from there. Peyton's going to actually be going through and pulling them out for us so we don't see them beforehand. So I like answering questions like that anyways.
On
better.
the spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get a more honest answer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's going to be the 1 millionth download episode. That should be either the end of this month or the very beginning of next month.
Well, it just depends on you guys out there listening.
It really does.
Really, Ben. Share with your friends, just say, you know what? You like podcasts. You like cryptids.
You're going to like these guys.
You like learning. You like having fun. Do you enjoy life? Well, here you go.
I thought you were going to go into the Charlie Manson thing.
Oh.
Where he just starts speaking
Are you
nonsense.
mad? Do you feel blame?
Yeah, So, Canadian devil monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
First off, I got to apologize right now. This is a ton of Native American words that will not be pronounced right once.
Almost guaranteed. I've guaranteed you'll get one of them right.
I don't think so. I read this. So normally when I do this stuff, I got tons of websites, ton of articles, and pull stuff apart and find what I want and stuff like that. I actually found a website that I only used one website after I went through all that stuff because it was a perfect one. It's mysteriesofcanada.com. And the article specifically is Devil Monkeys in Canada. Didn't have an author listed. Normally I like to shout out the author especially if I'm using this much of their work.
Yeah.
But it's just on this website. I don't know. There's no author associated with it.
Okay.
But it's pretty good. They pulled a lot of legends of the northern tribes with devil monkeys or the monkey people or the tailed people.
Oh.
which is pretty unique.
Yeah.
A lot of Native American stories. It's going to be definitely a much more folklore-heavy episode.
Okay.
So the legend of the Kitanani. That one I looked up. I may have said it right. The Kitanani.
Okay.
The idea of sort of monkeys once haunted the wilderness of North America echoes in ancient, little-known Native American tribes endemic to the southern border of Alaska and Canada's Yukon. Anybody that's, if you're new to the show, we've talked about the Yukon several times. It's probably one of the worst places to live on Earth. We have a couple listeners in the Yukon,
Which is awesome.
which they've talked to us about it. I would love to go to the Yukon.
Heck yeah.
I would love to ice fish it,
That'd be awesome.
but it also looks horrible. And I've had my hair freeze off. I've been that cold.
But sometimes going through the horrible stuff is just some of the best things in life.
I've been lost in Lake Michigan in a blizzard and stuff like that.
That'd be scary.
And been fine. I just sat down, started ice fishing until the blizzard was over. I'd be like, well, what else you going to do?
Right.
I've run enough propane for a couple days, and we can cook over the propane as long as you keep catching fish.
Right. That's the key right there. Yeah. Hopefully your hole's drilled in the right spot.
That's the same day I fought a bald eagle for my fish.
You what?
Fought a bald eagle for my fish.
Oh, you fought one.
Yeah, because I caught a burbot, my first burbot ever.
Yeah.
And some people really hate burbots, so they throw them to the eagles.
Yeah.
So I put my burbot on the ice so it'd freeze. And this eagle, I might be like 3-4 feet away from my fish, and I just hear. I turn around, this eagle was barreling down at me.
Bald eagle?
Yeah, going for the fish.
Yeah.
I had to stand in front of the fish, and he was like sizing me up and stuff like that. So I put the fish in the shanty with me.
Yeah, like, you ain't having this
He
one.
wouldn't leave us alone the whole day until the blizzard started.
Well, yeah, he knew.
But about 15 minutes before the blizzard, he took off, and I'm like, I wonder where he went. And then it snowed so hard he couldn't see like 4 feet.
It's like they know.
Yeah, well, they do. So the unnerving oral tradition appears to have its origins in the watershed of the Cooper River, a remote valley tucked away between the Wargnal, Churka, St. Ellis Mountains of the southeastern Alaska, historically and currently inhabited by many members of the Anthena Nation. According to the Anthena, vicious long-tailed men once lived in the Manistee Mountains in southeastern Alaska, and its caves along the Tandana Creek. There's a lot of words.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But I know the area you're talking at least.
Yeah, the Cooper River is a really famous fishing destination.
Oh, really?
It's extremely hard to get to, but that's probably why it's so good.
Right, yeah.
The Anathena, and I think that's how you say their tribe name. I'm apologizing if I'm getting it wrong. Oh gosh, I just forgot. The Katanari, is that how I said it earlier?
Sounds familiar.
Katanari. Now I've already messed it up. Is a word which translates to roughly the tailed ones or the monkey people. One version of the legend appears in a 1997 book, In the Shadows of the Mountains, by the Cooper River native John Salmaser. Another rendition was told by the Anthena native Fred and Katie John. Appeared in a book called, this book's name is Fully Native American.
Oh, boy.
And it's just one word. And it's probably got 32 letters in it.
It's like a Hawaiian name, huh?
Yeah. The Tatawana Nini.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. The Headwaters people country is what it kind of translates to.
Okay, let's stick with that.
But yeah, so they had these tales of these once long-tailed men that were kind of human-like. They walked on their hind legs, but they were hairy all over. They did not wear any clothes, and they had long tails. The Catanina are also said to be vaguely human-like in appearance. It had body hair, they said. There is no hair on their faces, though. They say its face is like that of a man. Its hands were like man hands. It had a long tail. They said it was as big as a tall person. And this is what, and that is what I've heard about them, is the quote. Several hundred years go by, as the story goes. Members of the Anthena band together who camped at the confluence of these rivers at a site in present-day Salmon, Alaska, began to mysteriously disappear. So this is a full one of their oral traditions we're going to go into.
Okay.
This is a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
You ready?
I think so, yeah.
So according to Reverend Arthur R. Wright, a half-Dane Absperklane missionary who lived along the Anthena in the early 1900s, whose version of the legend first appeared in February 7th in 1924's issue, the Coverda Daily News. The disappearances began shortly after a dog brought home a fresh tail of a fish into camp.
Uh-oh.
So they don't know what the dog left, and brought home somebody's cleaned fish.
Oh, the tail of a fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a carcass of a fish.
Yes.
Which, to most people would be like, oh, this is done with it. But maybe not if you're a wild man.
Right, yeah.
You may be still eating it.
Yeah.
So that's where all hell broke loose.
Uh-oh.
These original unremarkable remains aroused the curiosity of the Anthonina, as they were wholly engaged in hunting caribou at the time and had not caught any fish this season. But it was dissected like they would. Suspecting another band had encamped nearby, several Anthina scouted ahead on the Cooper River towards the headwaters located near their mysterious neighbors. They never returned from their excursion.
Oh, no. Okay.
More disappearances took place in the area through the ensuing months. The first Anthonina to vanish were always children who strayed too far from camp. Next, it was the women who went missing berry picking. Before long, the elders also began to disappear from their tents at night. Even grown men who dared to venture too far from the fire's light at night would vanish mere feet from camp without a noise.
That's crazy. Okay.
So dozens of people have gone missing now.
Yeah.
And it's, once again, this is an oral tradition. So the first time it was written is 24 was the first time it's ever appeared written.
Okay.
Yeah, so very freaky so far. Very much, it almost seems spiritual.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be scary if you just stood up to go pee, just barely out of the fire's light?
Yeah, I mean,
not a noise.
Depending on what happened, yeah, because you'd think one of them would scream or something, or something. I don't know.
The disappearances increased to such an extreme measure that the Anthonina feared their entire band might soon be forced to abandon the country completely.
Mm-hmm.
One day, an Anthonina hunter had been out in the bush, raced back to camp, breathless from his exhaustion and terror. He told his friends, then family, that he'd seen a man-like creature with a long tail perched upon a particular fallen tree. One of the band's young warriors, whom legend describes as being especially courageous and intelligent, suspected that the tailed ones he followed, his tribemen, had seen in the woods were responsible for the mysterious disappearances that had plagued his people. He resolved to track the creatures to the den and kill it.
Okay, good plan. Yeah. I'm sure this is going to end very well.
For who?
The guy going down the track down a creature and kill it. Yes.
So the young warrior followed his companion's trail to a downed timber and found a pair of strange tracks leading into the woods. He followed the paw prints to a hidden trail which cut through the forest and proceeded down a secret path. So basically, he found a game trail, but it was hidden off.
Okay.
And this is something that's kind of described with some of our Ohio grassman and stuff like that. These woven trails is kind of what they're describing here. You can't see them from the outside,
but once you're in them,
you're like, oh, this is a whole tunnel.
Yeah.
Where was I? So as he walked, he covered his own footprints with grass. So if he was pursued, he would go unnoticed by any observer enemies who might be trailing behind him. According to the version of this legend, in which the Reverend had learned, the brave man came across a large grass rope stretched across the trail, components of a primitive trap, which he had managed to avoid springing.
That's odd. Okay.
So a little more intelligent than, they set up a trap. After following the tracks for some time, the brave man came to the brave man came to what is now the Fred and Kate John, as identified as the South Hill and present-day Alaskan village of Bartsnoniments, which sits on the Tanaja Creek, just upriver the junction of the Cooper River, about 14 kilometers south of their original town. There the warrior spied a handful of tailed men in the distance. According to the Reverend's version of the legend, the creatures use their tail to propel themselves, almost curling it between their legs and springing forward, in such a manner to push forward themselves like a kangaroo.
Wow, okay.
So very odd.
Yeah, but...
almost Japanese and Southeast Asia legends.
Yeah, more frightening.
They're jumping around on their tails.
Yeah, gosh. That would be a nice little speed boost, though.
Careful to avoid detection, the brave man picked his way through the forest and placed himself windward of the creatures so they would not pick up his scent. That accomplishment, he climbed to the tree and concealed himself in the upper branches. From his high perch, he had clear view of the monkey people, who he described were playing a game of some sort with a ball. shrieking a hideous delight as they rolled this round object back and forth to each other.
So wait, hold on. It's not a ball, is it?
It's not a ball. After watching the game for some time, the brave man realized, with a thrill of horror and rage, the ball of the tailwinds that we're gleefully playing with was a recently decapitated head of a young man who went missing the day before.
That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, okay, yeah. These guys just having fun, playing a game. Oh, it's a head.
It's a head.
It's a head.
No sooner than the warrior made this appalling observation, it began to rain hard. Appearing to dislike the water, the tailwinds abandoned their sport and headed further up the trail. The young man scrambled down the tree and followed them quickly, trying to maintain a safe distance. Eventually, though, the monkey people came to a cliff, which they ran up the banks of the Cooper River. Near the top of the embankment, there were 8 caves. Each was significantly wide enough to accommodate an adult human. One by one, the Katanani climbed up the cliff and disappeared into these caverns.
Okay.
Certain that he discovered the den of these creatures that had been killing his people, the young man ran back to camp. So I'm going to finish the rest of this legend myself.
Okay.
Because this is the fun part.
Well, it's pretty
So he ran
crazy.
back to camp.
Yeah.
Any thoughts so far?
It's pretty nuts. It's pretty brave to follow him all the way back to home base. That's like a death sentence, but...
I mean, he doesn't have a lot of other options.
Yeah.
Their tribe is being decimated.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you got to either kill these things or you guys are going to get wiped out.
Right.
Literally, people are walking away from the fire 10 feet and whoop,
Dead.
disappearing. Elders are getting stolen out of their tents at night.
Yeah, that's not good.
Inside the community.
That's not good.
Yeah. So he goes back to camp and he tells everybody, hey, I seen these creatures. Here's what they are. Here's how big they are. Here's where they're living.
Right.
Let's go kill them. So what they do is they get a big war party together, men, women, and even children, because they don't have many members left.
And you're stronger together.
Yeah. They go all the way up. And what they do is, it's still pouring rain. They have men standing on each side of these holes. They take burning, like sage baskets to create a lot of smoke, and they fling them into these caverns. So it starts smoking them out.
Mm-hmm.
The monkey men can only come out one by one. So they just start stabbing them to death.
As they come out.
Yeah. But these guys are so violent and so crazy. They still lost 2 tribe members.
Yeah.
With this like single file of just stabbing the monkey guys as they're coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this spot is still famous to this day.
Really?
You can go see the caverns.
Oh, no, screw that.
Yeah. So they're still dotted along the cliff faces. People that are fishing the river and traveling the river can still find this exact spot.
Wow.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's renowned as the battle between the Anthena and the monkey men.
That's craziness. So is that the end of the story?
Yeah, so these pits, they found all kinds of charcoal in the bottom of them and stuff like that, these holes, these caverns. But yeah, that's kind of the end of this first one.
I mean, did they explore inside the caverns after the fact? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. In modern day, people went in there and found these giant burn pits and stuff like that from what probably was the Anthena, throwing all this stuff down them to burn to smoke them out.
Oh, I gotcha. So you don't think the monkey people were having fires?
No,
down there?
I don't think they needed fire. It's like Sasquatch. They don't. Not saying they're not smart enough to have a fire or start a fire. They just don't need it.
Yeah, I get it. I just wonder what these things actually were, though. Is it some primitive, like we talked about in an episode? We don't have a North American monkey.
That was the first devil monkey episode.
Was it that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, we don't have one. Is this what was here? Is this just a remnant? Or is this like we just did an episode on Patreon? Or it's coming out on Patreon, all right? The hybrids episode?
Oh, yeah. That's this week.
Is this a hybrid between, maybe it's a couple different types of monkeys? Or is it a human monkey hybrid somehow that made its footing? I don't know. I don't know. This is weird.
So that's that first one I have for you.
Yeah.
The next one's going to be the Legend of the Teachin,
Oh, okay.
which are another devil monkey.
Yeah.
And once again, it's weird thread with the devil monkeys.
Yeah.
They're never nice.
No.
Sasquatch legends in North American culture spread far and wide in variety, from being easygoing, to being secretive, to being protectors. Like if you don't mess with them, they won't mess with you kind of deal. As long as you pay them their tribute. Like a lot of the Michigan ones have a lot of that. Where like when they would salmon fish with nets and stuff, as long as you left a couple salmon for them out, they wouldn't mess with your nets.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Double monkeys almost always seem to be like dogmen.
Yeah, just bad news. Like the rock apes.
Yeah. Like, not good.
And not too far from that account right there. Like, I mean, it's not...
The rock apes never killed anybody as far as we know.
Yeah. I mean, location-wise, it's not too terribly far. It's on the same side of the country.
The rock apes?
Yeah, weren't they wasn't that Oregon or Washington?
No, that's Vietnam.
Then not what I'm thinking of. The place where like it was the lumberjack and they were out in the cabin. And like
Portlock.
Not that one. No, that's the canning. That's the cannery. The one where they're like throwing rocks down on the cabin, like boom, boom, boom.
Ape Canyon.
Ape Canyon. There we go. That's what it was. Not too terribly far from here, but kind of similar.
Probably 4,000 miles.
No, come on. The country ain't even hardly that wide. It's a coast to coast difference.
I don't think you realize how far up in Alaska and the Yukon are from the continental U.S.
It's still northwest U.S. and then Alaska, southeast Alaska.
I bet you it's at least 3,000 miles.
Gosh. It's relative. They're close.
Look it up. Why I start.
They're close. All right.
Look up Ape Canyon to the Cooper River.
I will indeed.
Okay. It's probably really far.
Well, you just continue on, then I'll inform you when I figure out. Yeah, the teaching.
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. Although the legends of the Catanani have been described as very regional and unique to the Anthena oral history, the work of the 19th century and 20th century entomologists clearly indicate a number of Native American tribes throughout the northwest corner of North America share traditional beliefs of a predatory tailed men who once prowled Alaskan Yukon wilderness. So like he's saying, this is a very common thread across a lot of these tribes.
Okay.
One of the earliest references to the belief that appeared in a book called The Inhabitants of the Northwest Coast of America. In 1839, an anthology that was written by Brandon Ferdinand. Basically, he was the governor and the czar of the czar-backed Russian-American company.
Okay.
Which dominated the fur trade in the Pacific coast. In his book, he wrote that the Tanana Indians of central Alaska, whose traditional homeland lies in the Anthena Territory, and the Inkaka, which is the pronunciation of that. I good luck. That one's wrong.
Well, you already pre-warned everyone.
Whose territory lies northwest of this. Basically, they all believe a man-like creature called now here's one for you, the Chatnat, which lives in the caves underground. According to this information, all these monsters have tails and are covered in beast fur. It is mentioned that the Chantanat bear close resemblance to these other monkey men. But yeah, if the Chantanat legend may have been a most fierce or fanful establishment of a powerful neighbor. So one of the thoughts is that they were kind of monsterizing or villainizing a neighboring tribe.
Okay.
And kind of giving them monster traits, and that's where this tradition may have come from.
Okay.
But nobody's really sure. But it's very much similar to the monkey men of the other local tribes.
Okay, gotcha.
But that's kind of that for that one. There's a lot of back and forth there, even if the Tichichin are real or they're villainizing a neighbor.
Okay.
The tailed people of other, Yukon territories. A man named McKinnon went on to describe how members of a particular... Now, here's one.
Oh, boy.
The Gwich'in tribe of northern Alaska, who lived on the shores of Chardlander Lake, believe in somewhat similar to an ogre, which is described by more sophisticated information as looking like a monkey. The Ikanak Indians of the Cooper River Delta similarly held a hairy man-like animal hunted their own territory. This creature, however, in McCanning's opinion, more closely resembles a gorilla than a monkey, since it lacks a tail.
Okay.
So maybe Bigfoot.
You think so?
I know, but...
Oh, okay. But, I mean, no tail. Mm-hmm. Sure not. I mean, there you go. That's something.
Other tribes, like the Tinana and the Talatan, also believed in a tailed man-like creature, who later was described as monkey people. McCannon suggested that their beliefs call into mind the writings of Father Emmerich Pollett, and a minister who lived among the Eastern Dane Indians of the Mackenzie River in Canada's Northwest Territories in the late 1800s. In several of his notes and letters, he described an old slaver Dane legend that controlled the ancestors of the Mackenzie River's natives that migrated along from the watery lands populated by these hairy-tailed men. Later in his book, McKinnon implied that the natives of the Yukon made a distance between the monkey men and the brush men, a legendary man-eating wild man who was the old Klondike prospector identified as the Unholy Man, or the Nakanik of the Northwestern Territories. So basically what he's getting at is there is a difference between the wild man and these monkey people.
Okay.
And like we've talked about with Bigfoot, especially in the Northern Territories, I wouldn't be scared of seeing a Bigfoot in our part of the country.
Right. But
up there, calories are much more hard to come by. And that's kind of what these legends are getting at.
It's almost, yeah, I mean, we get to, just examples off the top of my head. One, you already mentioned it, Portlock. Not a good kind of Bigfoot area you want to be caught in, but northern, it's up north. The Dyatlov, whatever you feel about that, let's say it is a Bigfoot, Yeti, or something like that, not something you want to be around. That's in Russia, right? The Dyatlov, northern, harsh climate. Just two off the head. Not good.
Are you enjoying this so far?
It's interesting, and I also
I just feel bad for Native Americans.
Well, but they knew how to deal with this stuff.
No, I
though.
mean for me mispronouncing everything.
Oh, that part. Psh, yeah, they'll never.
Because even the phonetic pronunciation, like the little guides,
it's hard.
There's still like little marks in there that I don't know how to pronounce.
Well, I mean, it comes with a learning disability. And I looked up Mount St. Helens I can't get an actual, like you said, how hard it is to get to. I did directions on the map and they said there's no route.
You can't drive there.
But there it is, like visually. I mean, I gave you that little red dot, and there's Mount St. Helens. It's relatively close.
What is that? 2,000 miles.
Well, no, that's just,
that's 2,000 miles.
That's from here.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's not a difference between those two. There's no connection. That's to Mount St. Helens from here is 2,000 miles. And we're on the other side of the country.
But remember, that's a traditional map. It's not right.
Yeah, I know. This is stretched out, too. Like it's one of those fake maps.
It's bigger towards the equator.
Huh? Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. That's what I'm... Yeah, exactly. That means that the distance even closer.
No, it's farther.
No, it's not. Yeah, the equator.
That's why Alaska looks small on the map when it's actually humongous.
You have this completely backwards.
No, you.
Come on. You know you're doing this on purpose.
No, I think you're wrong.
This is and... what's another information? Hey! Can't silence
the legend of the Kushnanak.
Silencing me.
That's why the buttons are on my side.
See how this is?
So another northern devil monkey. The legends of the Kushnanak. Another hairy, long-tailed hominid of the Northwest legend is the Kushnanak, sometimes referred as the Kushnaka, or land otter man. A man-like otter or otter-like man, which I think is funny the author.
Yeah, which I can't decide.
Oh, I mean, are you going to sit there and try to look at it really hard?
Long enough to figure out.
Which is said to reside in the Alaskan Panhandle. So this is actually, Portlock got blamed on this thing, and there's even landslides attributed to this thing in relatively recent history. Mm-hmm. According to the Scott Canadian anthropologist James, I really think his last name is Tit.
Okay. How is it spelled?
James T-I-E-T.
T-I-E. It might be Tiet.
Tit?
Tiet. Yeah.
That's probably it. Of the Tahltan Tales, published in October and December of 1921's issue of the Journal of American Folklore.
Could be tight.
Some Indians, in speaking English, call them monkey people. The Kushnanak was believed to be a kind of spirit which preys upon people who become lost in the wilderness, like the fairies of Celtic folklore. Mm-hmm. They chase their victims with hallucinations and so the people could become crazier and wander more aimlessly. Some lure lost humans into a watery or subterranean abodes in which they imprison them forever or eat them.
Wow.
So very fae folk, but also very almost Pukwudgie-esque.
Yep.
Not good.
No. Not good at all. And it's that part of Alaska that's just like, don't go there.
It sucks.
Just don't go.
Alaska has the most disappearances of anywhere in the U.S.
And there's many factors as to why. Many.
Isn't it like is it 1 in 500 or 1 in 1,000 go missing every year?
I don't know, and I don't think I want to know, to be honest.
Which
I would love to go visit Alaska, but I guess I better learn how to defend myself.
just don't go stay on the cruise.
Yeah, don't get off the beaten path.
Yeah,
Don't look for otter men or man otters.
like I said, I still have friends up in Alaska I have friends that are Alaskan natives. Well, Frank will tell. Shout out, Frank. He was my professor. Now he's my friend. Big ichthyologist.
Wow. And ain't it just funny how
So-
life goes?
I'll tell you a little story real fast.
Yeah.
He was trying to convince me to come work at his fish hatchery up in Alaska.
Uh-huh.
And they only get one plane in a week or a month. They get one plane in a month. You can order supplies. You basically get a 2 by 2 foot square to fill in.
Okay.
So almost all the guys that order anything, it's like that doesn't count your food and stuff like that. Like that comes in but it's for personal goods.
Right.
If it's 2 cases of beer, that's pretty much everybody buys
So you get.
is 2 cases of beer for the month. And you're not allowed to shoot the grizzlies where they're at.
Yeah.
Like literally you got to fly into this fish hatchery and fly out.
Yeah.
You live there for like 6 months out of the year.
And you're not allowed to shoot grizzlies.
And he's like, yeah, we've had them, they'll just destroy the fence one day and they'll be standing in the salmon runs and just eating all your fish. And you can shoot them with a salt shotgun. And he's like, most of the time, it depends on how big the grizzly is. Sometimes they don't even notice.
Yeah.
And he's like, the only time you're really allowed to shoot them is if they start breaking down your door.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it really sucks when you just watch them eat 6 months of hard labor.
They need a giant, like a big giant stuffed bird or something that they just have swinging from strings that just loaded and ready. And then when a bear comes in, you play over the loudspeakers, just the most skin curling screech, and let this thing just swing down like a big pendulum. That would scare off any animal, I would think.
I don't know. Bears are like that right mix of dumb and brave.
Come on, a big screeching like.
So I just watched a video of a grizzly. Like they had this deer carcass hanging and they electrified it.
Okay.
And this grizzly bear kept coming in and getting electrocuted and run away.
But you keep going
And then he
back.
came back. And then finally he went to the tree and found the wire and ripped the wire out.
Oh.
And then he went and ate the carcass.
Jeez. Yeah, they are dumb. Or not dumb. They are smart.
I mean, they'll figure it out. They just won't give up.
Right, exactly. Persistent.
Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
The land otter sisters.
Ooh, sisters, huh?
Yeah, American anthropologist John R. Swanton included a number of traditional Tinganat Kunashkin tales in his 1909 book, The Tinganak Myths and Text.
Oh, cool.
Several of these stories make frequent mentions of the potential tale of the Krishnanak was said to possess. One story of example tells of a woman who was saved from drowning by one of these creatures and taken to the realm of the land otter man, where she transformed into a female version.
Wow.
She married a land otter man and had many children, and all of which retained significant resemblance to maternal heritage that passed the human being to the casual observer. So they look like people.
Wow.
From their waist up, Wharton wrote, they look like human beings, but from below the waist, they were otter.
Interesting. Okay.
And if you want to say that, why are we comparing otters to devil monkeys? Once again, no monkeys in North America.
Right.
Otters probably the best close thing to call them,
Okay.
especially in the northern territories.
Yeah.
I mean, otters. If you want to, even some of the Bigfoots are called otter men and stuff like that.
It reminds me of like satyrs, too, kind of. Man upper half, or what are the?
I think it's a goat or is it deer?
Those are goats. The satyrs. What are the half horse, half man?
Minotaurs.
Minotaurs. Yeah. Same
Minotaur.
thing. No, you're right. It's minotaur.
No, that's the bull.
Bullhead.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking
Centaurs.
of centaurs. You're right. Centauro from Mortal Kombat.
Centaur.
Duh. What was I thinking? Centaur. I mean, same thing. I wonder if there's just something weird to that, like upper body, humans with lower half animals.
All right. One day, the woman took her children to visit her brother, who had long since given her up on her for being dead. Although initially shocked by her strange otter-like appearance, the brother welcomed his sister back into his home and introduced him to his own children to their tailed cousins.
Wow.
During their visit, the sister's tailed children helped their uncle catch quantities of devilfish and octopus, which he had used for fishing bait. There is an implication that these children used their tails to accomplish this, along with other chores, which made their uncle ask them to help him assist with, evoking a useful prehensile tail unique in the New World monkeys.
That's pretty awesome.
So this is leaning more towards why it's more like a monkey and not like an otter.
Right.
Is that their tails were able to function like an arm.
What are otters? Otters have tails?
Big tails.
Really? Why can I picture that in my head?
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's just not. I can't picture that. I don't know why. And I've seen
It's
otter.
almost like a big rudder.
Okay.
It's much more stiff. It's like a big rudder.
I got to look it up now. I got to see it.
Next one I got for you is the Gordon's Ferry sighting.
Ooh.
To many current members of these tribes and the First Nations of Alaska, the Yukon, and British Columbia, the Krishnanek remains a very real threat to travelers who lose their way in the Pacific Northwest. The tailed ones of the Anthena and the Tanana folklore, on the other hand, are generally regarded as monsters of the legendary past, no more feared by modern men than cave lions and saber-toothed tigers. Even at the campfire stories of a predatory cave-dwelling monkey man of the Cooper River, and it has the truth at its core. Any potential dangers posed by the Cantanani is supposed to have been queshed generations ago, and the last of the tailed men were wiped out in the shadows of the Monstantine Mountains.
Let me jump in real quick. Is it the Cooper River or Copper?
Cooper, right?
Spell it real quick.
Oh, Copper. It is Copper.
Okay, you said it earlier. Because when I was looking it up, a Copper River kept popping up.
It's Copper.
River. I'm like, and I'm just, it's probably just Copper. All right, just clearing that up because you'll probably get a comment about it. Mm-hmm. So, hey, Mr. Commenter, we just covered it.
Just the one guy.
Yeah, just
I don't know why he's still listening.
Put your thumbs down and just listen on this one. We got it corrected.
So despite the reassurance of native folklore, sightings of these mysterious monkey-like creatures still are reported from time to time in the wilderness of North America. Distinguishably from these reports and other hairy wild men, the mention of a tail. That's what, the big difference between a Bigfoot-like thing or a wild man and these guys are the big tail.
Yeah.
The sightings have, nonetheless made their way in collections of classic Sasquatch sightings. So the author goes into this may be, a big problem with really researching these guys is they're going to get lumped in with Sasquatch.
I could see that.
For example, this author Green describes the experience of a young man named Gordon Ferry, who claimed to have seen these monkey-like creatures near his home in the Marnak River, a tributary of the Squashian River, not far from the town of Squashian, British Columbia. He saw the animal one morning in June of 1969, standing in a ditch across the road from his house. It was covered with hair, walked on two legs, and appeared to have a bushy tail. Later, Ferry discovered strange three-toed tracks in the ditch where the creature had stood. He measured them 15 inches in length and had a hand span in breadth. His finished report claiming that dogs in the area acted very upset on many occasions. An article on June 11, 1969, in the issues of their local newspaper identified Ferrier as a borderer of Paul Gunter and his wife, Norma, who lived in a no-name road just south of this area, just upriver. According to this article, Ferrier first saw this creature 3 weeks earlier, mid-May 1969, and after it ripped open a window at the Gunter's farmhouse, Ferrier investigated the combination and saw the mysterious creature disappear into the bushes near the back of the house. He estimated to be 5 foot 8 inches in height and described it as having a long tail covered in brownish red fur.
Mm.
On the following day, Mrs. Gunther and her children stayed home from their neighbors, fearful of the unwanted visitor might return. Their fear was justified. During their absence, so they went to their neighbor's house and stayed there. Their fear was justified. During their absence, someone or something entered their home through the window, left a pile of moss on the floor before departing.
Ah, okay.
Probably not good.
Pile of moss, huh?
About a week later, at 6:15 a.m., Gordon Ferry looked up from the Gunther's dining room window and saw the same creature he had spotted before standing in the bush across from the house. He described it having a small pointed ears, reddish fur, and pushed its face, or had a pushed up face like a Pekingese dog. Pekingese?
Not too sure what that is.
Pekingese?
Pekingese?
What's a Pekingese dog? I feel like I've heard it before. I can't picture it.
It does sound familiar, doesn't it?
And it was walked erect on two legs. Startled, he called for Paul, who arrived at the time to see the long tail, and was shocked by the reddish hair disappear into the bushes. The two men...
There's your dog.
Oh, yeah.
Pekingese.
Like a big snub face.
Yeah.
Went outside to investigate. Found tracks that were deep enough to be left by a 300-pound animal or more. Mrs. Gunter reported the incident to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, who took a plaster cast of the strange footprint before destroying the original with a rake.
Destroyed it with a rake? Sorry. The
footprint.
cast.
Pay attention. Get off
Sorry.
your phone.
I'm the Pekingese. I was distracted. They look like furry pugs.
They are furry pugs, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Mounted Police came and casted it and then destroyed the original.
Destroyed it. Okay.
On the evidence of the Mounties, Mrs. Gunter hung a bag of contaminated bread and honey from a tree outside of her home in order to determine whether the creature was a bear or not. The bag remained untouched until...
What is it? Winnie the Pooh?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now you made me lose my spot.
Sorry, that's the first thing I thought of. Ooh, a jar of honey.
But yeah, the bag remained untouched, which made it was not a member of the Ursine family.
Okay. Yeah, because I would have ate that up immediately.
It's a bear. They're going to eat whatever.
Yeah.
According to the article in June 5th, 1969, in the issue of the Vancouver Sun, they described the police were being uncooperative, claiming that they treated them like they were completely crazy.
Well, the police probably didn't want to deal with this.
Mm-hmm. But the Mounted Police came in.
Yeah.
So, Devil, what do you think of this case? Like, this thing is looking in. It broke into the house, left a pile of moss.
Yeah. It's got the tail.
So, compared to Sasquatch love watching kids. So they had small kids in the house.
Yeah.
I don't think 90% of the time it's anything bad. They're watching kids. I think it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's just, kids are goofy. They're making crazy noises. They're doing, they're running around. So it's just like they're bored. It's fun to watch.
It's good energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's good energy.
Devil monkeys, I don't think it's good.
Okay.
Because they're very similar, in my opinion, to the baboons and mandrills.
Now, I think in all these cases we just listened to, or you listed off, some seem like, bad devil monkeys. Like, I feel like especially the name devil monkey, it's just bad already. But some of these don't seem like they're the same thing at all. And some of them seem like more, not Bigfooty, but,
I think it was coming for the kids.
Okay. Just scouting it out?
No, I think it was, like, it broke into the house. It kept looking in the windows. I think, so baboons are famous for stealing human babies.
Yeah.
And eating them.
Oh, gosh.
And I think that's what this thing was going to do with the kids.
It
was waiting for its opportunity.
To get them.
Farrier came over, and because he's seen it the first time he came over, and was like, all right, they went and stayed at the neighbor's house.
Yeah.
And he was staying in their house with the husband.
Yeah.
And it kept looking in the windows, and it was waiting for my opinion, waiting for the kids to come back.
And seize the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You ever seen that video? It was like somewhere in Asia or India or somewhere, just little like toddlers, little kids playing on the street, and I forget what country it is where those monkeys are just like everywhere, and tourists, you can't, and you're not supposed to do anything to them. One just runs up, grabs a little girl by the ankle, and just starts running off with her, like dragging her, and she's just like trying to stop it, but it's just pulling her until finally some people like run at it and scare it off, and it lets go of the girl and takes off running. But he was abducting that little girl.
Oh, they'll eat anything.
Yeah.
They're monkeys, and primates are scary.
Yeah.
Like bonobos and gorillas are scary. Like primates are not good to be around.
No.
But remember, Bigfoot's a manatee.
Yes, big difference.
Big difference.
Big softies.
No, and even the continental U.S. Devil monkey sightings are all scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're attacking cars. They're running at you. So what's happening? So I got a little list.
Oh, okay.
This is Dogman, or vice versa.
Just straight up.
That's a big thought especially in my head. When you look at like a baboon-like creature, having baboons look like halfway between a human and a German Shepherd.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Very aggressive, very intelligent. But they love eating people. They love eating kids. Playing with the head and stuff like that.
Gosh.
And how much, really, when you look at a dog man, they hunch back, these big forward arms. They very are much baboon-like, just big.
Yeah.
So I could see that, these devil monkeys and dog man, maybe not fully are always the same thing, but a big crossover.
Well, we don't know, too, how much, let's say, if these are roaming around, obviously they're in few numbers or they're very, very secretive. We don't know what is like crossbreeding or what's mixing and matching, in these circles. It could be a whole bunch of different ones, and then I don't know, if they crossbreed, you got whole other variants and just different things running around. You can't really put your finger on it.
Yes. Your phone rang.
Sorry.
It distracted us all.
It kind of scared
Professional.
me.
I thought it was mine, and I was like, oh, the wife's yelling.
It's not me.
So, cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman detailed several devil monkey sightings in his book in 1983, Mysterious America. The first story, which Coleman discovered, was with Jesse W. Harris, an article, Myths and Legends of Southern Illinois. So we have some lower ones. While hunting squirrels along the Gum Creek near the city of Mount Vernon, Illinois, a preacher, whom Coleman identified as Reverend Marsh, was approached by a large animal that looked something like a baboon, which leaped out of a tree and began walking towards him. The Reverend struck the creature with the barrel of his shotgun and fired several shots in the air, successfully fighting it off.
Okay. Down in Gum Creek, Illinois.
Yeah, been there.
Really?
Yes.
Why am I not surprised?
I've probably been in every creek in Illinois.
That's okay, fair enough.
4 months of the year in Illinois, doing watershed work.
From the Chicago River all the way down to Gum Creek. I've never seen them all.
Sometime after the preacher's encounter, though, local farmers reported hearing a blood-curdling shriek at night, which seemed to be emanating from the wooden bottomlands along the area's creek. Hunters began seeing strange tracks during this that resembled a dog for one of the farmers. So, yes, it looked kind of like a dog mixed with a human. And then a dog was killed.
Okay.
By some mysterious predator.
Okay.
It was kind of ripped apart.
The dog was.
Yes, very land between the legs.
I was just going to say that. I was going to mention that earlier when some of these, but...
So they were fearful there was a panther on the prowl. The group of locals band together to resolve and kill the creature. As soon as it became clear the strange nocturnal screamer was no wildcat, one day a driver claimed to see an unusual creature bounding across the road in Big Muddy River.
Uh-oh.
About 50 miles from the preacher's initial sighting. Although he was negligent to provide a detailed description of the animal he saw, he was sure it was not a panther. Later, a hunter spotted a mysterious animal track along more noteworthy of the western Okawa River. That's one I don't know.
Okay.
Several alleged witnesses described the animal jumped in from place to place, leaping to some that lead. Can't talk today. Leading some people to suspect it was a kangaroo who escaped from a zoo.
Okay, now wait a minute. Let's go back to our first story of these things using their tail to spring forward. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's the same deal here? We're dealing with the same type of thing? Or is it just like a locomotion thing that just happens naturally when you got a big, strong tail that you can do this with? Or is it the same creature we're dealing with?
Is it or is it not?
I don't know.
So, yes. And there's tons. A lot of them, we covered a lot of the lower ones already on the first episode of this. Sorry, this episode was a lot of reading. I know some people don't enjoy that, but he did such a good job writing the article.
Yeah.
I wanted to use it, at least most of it. So, yeah, the dog man or vice versa. Yay or nay?
Gosh. I think there's a sliver of yay. Because I think Dogman is such a wide range of what Dogman actually is.
And we've said that with Dogman and Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Dogman is a mix of probably people seeing hyenas.
I mean,
it's a whole category of people like, oh, I seen a hyena.
Yeah.
It's Dogman.
Mm-hmm.
No, you could have just seen a hyena.
Right, yeah. I mean, there's so many different little things you can cut a Dogman up into and be,
Same with Bigfoot.
Same thing. So is there a crossover in this? Yeah, absolutely. I do believe that. Yeah.
I mean, they're just so similar.
Yeah.
And there was that one we did in the first episode of I can't remember if it was Oklahoma or Texas that had an actual devil monkey that was killed.
Okay.
Do you remember I showed you the picture? It was a baboon.
Yeah.
It was an actual baboon. The people have been seeing it. It was killing livestock, and it was baboons for their size can kill a lot of big things because they're
pretty
bite
scary
and rip.
Yeah.
I mean, little monkeys are scary. I mean, there's that video of this guy that's sitting on the sidewalk playing with little monkey, and it gets mad and it bites the top of his skull and like literally skins the top of his skull, like a big strip, like a banana.
Punch that thing so hard.
Oh, there was
punched it right in the face.
I just seen another guy that was like, like we talked about these tourist destinations with these monkeys.
Yeah.
And this monkey came up and tried to steal stuff from him. And the guy like squared up with it, and the monkey went at it and he punched it in the face.
Yeah.
And they all took off.
Yeah. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to do that in a lot of those countries. Like, you're not supposed to touch them.
Yeah.
Like, they're
you shouldn't feed them either.
No, but I mean, that's just kind of what happens.
Yeah.
But they're protected and you can't do nothing about them. And that's a bad precedent, to set. Like, yeah, we'll just let these guys run around everywhere doing whatever they want, and you can't do anything about it. I'm going to square up, punch it right in the face.
So my next little thing of what could be happening is the introduction of baboons. And we kind of covered that, and we've talked about it with the early, and this may not account for some like the Athena legends and stuff like that,
Right.
Ancient ones, but it could, because a lot of, like I said, those were written down in the 1900s. People have been visiting that place since the early 1700s,
Right.
And whatever you talked about in a lot of these, like Skunk Ape and the first one, a lot of these ships had chained up apes and monkeys
Brought them right over.
for entertainment on these voyages.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when they got someplace, they release them because they were apes and monkeys chained up to a ship.
Not something you really want to keep around for very
throwing poop
long.
and like they talked about the silverback chimpanzee forever.
Yeah.
That were chained up on these ships. And we didn't discover the bonobo for till relatively recently. And that's probably what they had was bonobos chained up.
That's crazy.
So what if this is some type of primate that was brought here in the early 1700s?
Well, with that account, with what was it that starts with the A? I can't remember. The one
The
where they,
Athena?
yeah, where they went into the caves and they smoked them out and then stabbed them one by one. That one,
The Catanani, I believe.
yeah, where they're playing with their head. That one made me feel from the whole time like
Baboon.
something like that. Yeah, just
Very
some
baboon-y.
primate. Yeah, just very animalistic behavior. But the only thing that's like kind of weird or like supernatural about it was just them abducting people like silently. That was the only way, unless they're just masters.
But like I said, baboons steal babies out of huts without people knowing.
Mine's more the part where the guys would, wander off, just away from the fire and then just
Once again,
go
oral
on.
tradition.
Yeah, right.
So stuff can become inflated over time
True.
or misinterpreted. It only takes one bad storyteller
Oh yeah.
to mess up the whole line.
Everything. Yeah. Telephone.
Yeah. So there could be, it could be that they wandered too far away or,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know though. But this whole idea that it depends on how ancient these stories actually go.
Right.
And I don't know if they're a couple hundred years old. That's what it mostly seems like.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest one I got is from 1823 as recorded.
Right.
And who knows how long they had it as an oral tradition before that.
No. And yeah, exactly. And Native Americans, imagine what the stories they could tell.
So is it 100 years old? Then that would fit
Mm-hmm.
with an introduction of baboons. Can they survive the cold? I'm not as sure if they can survive the Yukon or the,
Well, I mean, if they get their cave system and if they've
there's
been
that
there a
too.
while, I mean, they might have adapted and figured it out, It's hard telling it. What if there was an ancient primate, that was home here and these guys are just the last few remaining little sections of it? I don't know.
So what are you going with the introduced baboon or similar primate?
Well, I think it's possible. Yeah, for sure.
I think specifically this may be more towards the lower ones,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
like the continental U.S. and
yeah,
stuff like that.
if you bring one over on the ship, I don't think it's. Yeah, I agree. It's not getting up in northern Canada and making its
there's
home.
people going up there and stuff like that. I mean,
Yes, but I don't think
I don't think they're
primate
gonna
is
do very good.
Yeah, I don't think so. They'll make it where they're used to.
So you've already kind of said this, but an existing North American species,
Yeah, that's where I think a lot of this falls under.
like we talked about in the first episode of Devil Monkeys, that there was a lot of what North America's missing. It's primate. Every other pretty much continent besides Antarctica has apes. Has primates. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Doesn't have apes. Every continent besides North America and Australia and Antarctica, but Antarctica is missing a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
But North America and Australia are missing primates. And Australia's a little bit more explainable. It's just now is kind of connecting.
It's an
to
isolated,
everything.
very isolated island.
Yes. But North America, Asia has apes. Or, sorry, primates. I keep doing that. Has primates. And South America has primates. So why don't we? And we did, when that first episode we did, went into, there was a whole bunch of apes here. Once again.
Primates.
Primates here that went extinct. So is this a holdover? Is this a primate that survived, its mass extinction into modern day and has become really reclusive? We know primates are very intelligent. They can become very secretive. Baboons are awful creatures.
Oh yeah.
Bonobos are very scary to be around. They can be, but they're all extremely intelligent,
Oh yeah.
capable of hunting, planning. I mean,
They got their own little communities.
I think chimpanzees have entered the Stone Age in nature, that they are getting to that point to where how much tool usage they have. They think we have some influence on that with them just observing us and being like, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. which is kind of cool. I mean, scary to think where it could lead, but it's pretty cool. It's better than AI, in my opinion.
So this existing species could be a baboon relative. It could be its own thing. I mean, just think of snow macaques, in Japan and stuff like that.
The guys that swim in little hot springs that you see, those are.
But they can handle the cold. I mean, they pretty much live in a frozen wasteland their whole life.
Oh yeah, it's just when they get that spa day, that's where you see all the cool pictures of them.
Oh yeah, and they fight for that.
Really?
Yeah,
I would too.
There's it's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
A lot of the young ones aren't allowed in it and stuff like that.
Nope, they're gonna pee in the pool. You're not allowed yet.
So what if it's this crossed over on the first land bridge? They've been here for a long time, very secretive, very aggressive. So what's your thoughts?
I mean, what if they were here before the land bridge? It was just something that was always here.
It could be. So I think when we talked about that first episode, that the North American primates seem to be more closely related to the Asian primates versus the South American ones. Because South America, North America, relatively recently, as far as geology is concerned, touched. But yeah, I don't know. It could be either way.
It could be either way, and then you got the hybrid factor involved too, and we just don't know the history of what is or what could have been here. So I just think that though, I think it is just an ancient creature that's been here. It's just low numbers, secretive, and they're just trying to make their own little niche in the world, and
they're awful.
We keep infringing upon it, and they get angrier and angrier. It's our fault.
And same thing we kind of talked about with dragons and stuff like that, going, relatively either extinct or on the verge of extinction due to hunting them.
Yeah.
Due to showing it's a type of manhood.
Like King George slaying the dragon. I think it was King George. I don't know.
Yes, he did. I think his was like Triceratops,
yes.
Like a big cow. He probably just killed a big cow.
Slapped some horns on it. It was a hodag.
It was a hodag.
They're all hodags.
So what it could be that. It could be an existing species. And especially if they were aggressive or intelligent, the humans of the time would have, wiped them out.
Oh, for sure.
Anything dangerous we did.
Yep. That's what we do. We're good at it.
Next one I got for you is a primitive species of human.
Ooh.
And the tailed aspect comes from oral tradition. They maybe not actually have tails. That it's more of just alluding at them being primitive. And this article kind of covered that. That the tailed man was a way of villainizing or monsterizing a rival tribe.
Gotcha.
So what if it's something along those lines?
Okay, I can't rule that out. That's a good thought. I didn't think about that.
And I don't think that goes as well for our modern day devil monkeys.
Right.
That's more of these oral tradition ones in the north.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Being more wild or primitive human.
Right.
They maybe not been living in huts. They may have, not saying that they weren't genetically not
different.
Us,
yeah.
But that they are, physically they were living a much different life.
Aren't there people here, or not here, modern people that are born with remnants of a tail?
Yeah.
So it's still like
There's kids born with scales and stuff like that.
That's weird. So there's still stuff lingering. So I bet
we have all the genetics of everything. I mean,
I think my brother told me that my other brother was born with a tail and they cut it off after he was born. But I think he was growing up, as I'm older now, I may question that a bit more. But growing up, I believed it 100%. Oh, he had a tail. I would tell people my brother had a tail he was born with. But I think my oldest brother may have been playing a joke on me.
That's the oldest sibling's job.
We did that with my sister. We told her we had a brother named Mark that lived in Florida, and he had a mustache. And she was always, for a couple years, she was pretty upset. She never met our brother Mark until we revealed to her that we made all that we made all that up.
The only girl.
Yeah, I know. She's the youngest. Yeah. Oh, had to be rough.
Ready for my last one?
Yeah. Okay? This is probably your main one, huh?
I don't know. This one I got a pretty good mix on.
Okay.
Normally, you're right. I do that. But
yeah. Do.
Skinwalkers.
Ooh.
This legend of skinwalkers, skin changers, wendigos, all this stuff with very scary, human spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
What if that's what's happening here? We are dealing with skinwalkers taking the shape of something furred. They're kind of this halfway between human and something else. Because, just with the aggressive level and the debauchery level of these devil monkey encounters and stories,
yeah,
it would definitely play in that similar skinwalker type thing.
I could see it in a certain sense. The only reason I don't lean towards that is because the guy that was able to follow a whole group of them, you don't really typically see or hear about skinwalkers in groups or communities.
No, there's always they have apprentices and they can. I just don't. I think, especially out west, a lot of them have been killed. Like if you learn a
Very
skinwalker's
isolated.
name, you have power over them. If you learn their human name,
Oh, okay.
and so
Dave.
they isolate themselves because of that.
Yeah.
And they're in your community. It's just I think there is some of this to be in play. That
Yeah, you can't
especially the
rule it
more
out.
spiritual nature. If you want to take the Anthena tribe's legends to heart, that's more spectral.
Okay.
The people getting grabbed
Yeah.
feet from the fire and just vanished away,
Mm-hmm.
and this debauchery of the body and stuff like that.
Yeah. Gosh, but then they're playing around with the head rolling.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Gosh. Yeah. I don't know.
And they never found the rest of the people's bodies.
They just
found that
disappeared?
head.
Well, they're probably because their bodies came out and poop for it because they're eating the whole thing.
That or being used in rituals, blood sacrifice, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that too. I'm probably burning them down these caves. Probably find some molars down there if you looked hard enough.
So, if you had to pick one, who are you going with?
I'm going with the ancient race of primate. That's just here.
I think I'm there with you.
That's where I'm falling. Yeah.
I think the dogman thing is kind of like, could it be an overlapping of all these things we just talked about?
Yes. Now, almost all these I could consider, or
Sure.
maybe a sliver of truth, but I think the main culprit.
I think a lot of our southern devil monkey things could be the introduced baboon,
Yes.
or a different ape,
Absolutely, yeah.
because they're awful as far as they're very intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
and they will eat you. They will eat a baby.
Yes, absolutely.
They will take advantage. They're very human.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we got? The skinwalkers, sure, I could see playing some of this.
Yeah,
And
a little small sliver.
even the primitive humans or the villainizing of other humans,
Yes.
especially these old legends.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the anthropologists, that's what they suggested. It was the tail doesn't represent a real thing. It represents like the feathers in Quetzalcoatlus or
Right.
the feathers in South American
This
stuff. It doesn't
represents it
mean
can
it
fly.
has feathers. Yeah, it means it could fly.
And you got to remember that too with a lot of the oral traditions. Yeah, it's just symbolism, and it can be mistranslated very easily. So yeah, these tailed people.
I'm going with an existing species on the fringe
Yeah, I agree.
because North America's missing their primate.
And here they are. They're aggressive, and they'll rip your head off and roll around like a bowling
I
ball.
think they're probably on the verge of extinction.
Yeah,
Probably because they were so aggressive, and humans have proven that if you're aggressive and scary,
you will
we
be.
will find you.
and we will spear you.
We will kill you.
Yes.
Whether you're a dragon, a giant ground sloth, or a saber-toothed cat, or a devil monkey.
Or a devil monkey, exactly.
We will kill you.
Yep, it's going to happen.
I have been the great and powerful mystery.
And I have been J Clone. What was I? 928.
Okay.
Very specific number.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark.
We'll catch you next week with more exciting stuff.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Crypts of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on Patreon/cryptsofthecorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.